So welcome back. So what are the different terms for issue the shares? So number one, the shares can be issued at par value or the shares can be issued at a premium. And also what I said, the total capital of the company may be divided into different units. Each and every unit is known as shares. And the total of these shares are known as the share capital of the company. So once again, so the total capital of the company may be divided into different units and each and every unit is known as share and the total of the share is known as the total capital of the company. And also you can see my example. So one share is equal to 10 rupees. That 10 rupees I am collecting the terms for issue the shares at par value or at a premium. Suppose the value of the share is 10. That 10 rupees either you can collect lump sum amount or we are collecting under the following ways. A, application money 2 rupees, allotment money 3 like our installment, and first call is 2 and final call is 3. So that means the total value of the share is known as 10 rupees. Then our next point is, see what are the different types of capital. You can see as per our new syllabus, you can see section 200 as per section 2/20 of the Companies Act 2013. You can see the total capital. So what are the different types of capital? That means A, authorized capital, and number 2, that is issued capital, and next is subscribed capital. So authorized capital, issued capital and subscribed capital, and next is called up capital, and last one is paid up capital. So this is the capital structure of the company: authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, and called up capital and paid up capital. So here you know that this is all simple thing. So what do you mean by authorized capital? The authorized capital means the capital which is authorized in the memorandum of association, or authorized capital is a part of capital which is incorporated by the company. The total capital by which company is registered at the time of incorporation, or otherwise it is authorized by the memorandum of association, and this particular capital is otherwise known as nominal capital also. Then what is issued capital? A part of authorized capital which is issued to the public is known as issued capital. Then out of the issued capital which is subscribed by the public is known as subscribed capital, and out of subscribed capital which is called up by the company is known as called up capital, and finally which is paid by the shareholder is known as paid up capital. When we are doing the problem you can understand all these things, and also when we are doing the balance sheet also you can understand this part, because it is not that much important. See, authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, and called up capital and paid up capital. Here one more point is there. So what do you mean by reserve capital? So what is reserve capital? You can see our sample paper they are given. So what do you mean by, what is the difference between reserve capital and capital reserve? So what is actually reserve capital? So reserve capital is an uncalled capital, or the capital which is not called up till today, and only that capital will called up at the time of winding up of the company. So that capital is known as reserve capital. You can see what do you mean by reserve capital? The capital, the uncalled capital is known as reserve capital, and this reserve capital we will called up only at the time of winding up of the company, or whenever the company requires more capital. So that time only we are issuing this reserve capital. Now you can see what all things we have studied. Just to recap all the points. So what do you mean by joint stock company, and what are the different methods for issuing of shares, and how the joint stock companies are collecting the capital? What are the different methods like issuing the prospectus, and also method for issue the shares. And next one more point is coming. So what do you mean by minimum subscription? You can see our previous board questions. So they are asking one question, 1 or 2 mark questions. So what do you mean by minimum subscription? As per SEBI guidelines, after issuing the prospectus, within 30 days, they should collect the minimum amount of capital on account of application. The minimum amount of capital should be collected by the company on account of application. That is what is called a minimum subscription of shares. So you can see, as per SEBI guidelines, and it is authorized in the articles of association, they are given clearly the provisions. What do you mean by minimum subscription? The minimum amount of capital should be collected by the company within a stipulated time is known as minimum subscription. Here you can see in my classes, some students are asking, sir, suppose we are not collecting this amount within a stipulated time. So what is the next procedure? Answer is very simple. Whatever the amount you are collected by the company, so you are unable to collect this minimum subscription within a stipulated period, and whatever the amount collected by the company, so that should be returned to the shareholder along with interest. That is the provision. You know that, see, you are unable to collect these amounts within a stipulated period. That means the minimum subscription you are not collected within a stipulated time. Whatever the amount you are collected by the company should be returned to the shareholder or the applicants along with interest. That means this is a very, very important points to the company. They should collect the minimum amount of capital after issuing the prospectus within 30 days. They should collect the minimum amount of capital. So the next procedure is, so how we are issuing the shares, what are the accounting treatments? See, accounting treatments for issue the shares at par value or a face value. Now I am considering par value and face value. What is an accounting treatments for issue the shares? You know, issue the applications and collect the application money. So what is the accounting treatments on journal entries? Accounting treatments, accounting treatments, journal entries. So my dear students, you are already studied this chapter. I think you know, I know that. So now we are discussing issue of debentures and redemption of debentures and cash flow statement. Now this all we are already studied, but just to recollect all the points, because now our model examination is coming. Before that, you should do thorough with this chapter. 40% of our marks is from these chapters like issue of shares and issue of debentures and redemption of debentures. So these chapters are very, very important to the students. So that is why just to recollect all the points what I am taking now. So now you can see accounting treatments, journal entries. So our contest number 1, issue the applications and collect application money. So what is the first entry? Bank accounts. Today itself all of you study this journal entries. Bank account debtor to share application. Bank account debtor to share application. So duration being the application money received. So being the application money received. Being the application money received. Bank account debtor to share application account. So then next point is the application money what we are collected is transferred to the capital. So share application account debtor to share capital accounts. Share application accounts. Share application account debtor to share capital. So first entry is bank account to share application, and second entry is share application account debtor to share capital account. Then now you can see one more point is there. So sometimes we are getting excess application. So as per pro rata adjustments, sometimes we are getting an excess application. Example, our requirements is only 20,000, but we received 25,000. Either you can reject this 5,000 or you can internally adjust this 5,000. That is as per over subscription and pro rata adjustment, maybe you are studied. So my normal entry bank account to share application, and second point is share application to share capital, and third point is if any rejection is there, if underline if any rejection is there. So our journal entry is share application account debtor to bank. Share application account debtor to bank accounts. So that is a rejection entry. So once again, banks, when we are issue the application and collect the application money, our journal entry is bank account debtor to share application, and second entry share application money transferred to the capital. Our journal entry is share application account debtor to capital accounts. So the second procedure, if any excess application money is there, either the directors can reject or they can internally adjust. But here this journal entry belongs to the rejection. Share application account debtor to bank account. So now first part is over. Now next part is allotment money due. So what is the entry for allotment? Share allotment account debtor to share capital. Our context is allotment money due. First is application and second is allotment. So our entry is number 4. Share allotment account debtor to share capital accounts. So allotment is due along with the premium, or allotment is due along with the discount also, but here discount is not there. So now I am taking par value, share allotment account debtor to share capital account, allotment money due, share allotment account debtor to share capital, share allotment account debtor to share capital account, share allotment account debtor to share capital accounts. So the next point is allotment money received. Allotment money received. So what is the journal entry? Bank account debtor to share allotment account. Bank account debtor to share allotment account. So the fourth entry is allotment money is received. So our journal entry is bank account debtor to share allotment account. Bank account debtor to share allotment accounts. Bank account debtor to share allotment account. Now you can see we have studied 5 entry. First one is bank account debtor to share application, and the second one is share application account debtor to share capital, and the next one is allotment money due, or any rejection is there, share application account to bank. It is not necessary, sometimes only if it is a pro rata only rejection or internal adjustment will be there. So the third case is allotment money due, that is share allotment account debtor to share capital, then bank account debtor to share allotment account. So now our second procedure over. Then third procedure is on making first call. On making first call. So what is our entry? On making first call, share first call account debtor to share capital. Share first call account debtor to share capital. So on making first call, journal entry is share first call account debtor to share capital and call money received. So our entry is bank account debtor to share first call account. Bank account debtor to share first call accounts. Then again next one, on making final call, this is the first installment, first call. Then on making final call, our journal entry is share final call account debtor to share capital, share final call account debtor to share capital and final call received, and last entry bank account debtor to share final call accounts. So now you can see on making a first call, our journal entry is so share first call account debtor to share capital and first call is received. So look at the monitor, you can see everything clearly. See, share first call account debtor to share capital, and also when we are getting first call, entry is bank account debtor to share first call, and on making final call, your entry is share final call account debtor to share capital. On receiving final call, our entry is bank account debtor to share final call. Now you can see we have studied 4 mark question. So what are the accounting treatments at the time of issue the shares? You can see once again I will repeat. We are issuing the applications and collect application money. Our journal entry is bank account debtor to share application accounts. Now itself all of you please study. So our first entry is bank account debtor to share application, and the second one is share application account is transferred to capital. So that is share application account debtor to capital accounts. Now next is allotment. On making an allotment or allotment money is due. So your entry is share allotment account debtor to share capital, then allotment money received, bank account debtor to share allotment accounts. Then next, on making a first call, your journal entry is share first call account added to share capital. On receiving a first call, our journal entry is that bank account added to share first call account. And last entry is on making a final call. So what is our entry? So on making a final call, entry is share final call account added to share capital, and first one, that is receiving a final call, so amount is entry is bank account added to share final call account. So these are the accounting treatments at the time of issue the shares. You know that the method for issue the shares are either shares can be issued at a premium, or the shares can be issued at a par value, or the shares can be issued at a discount. Now third part is not there as per new syllabus, so please study only 2 points. The shares can be issued at a par value, or the shares can be issued at a premium. And also the accounting treatments I already explained. So now you can see the first point is what do you mean by joint stock company, and the second point is how these joint stock companies are issuing or collecting their necessary capital, and what are the different type of shares they are issuing, like ordinary shares and preference shares, and what do you mean by prospectus, and what is the contents of the prospectus, and what are the provisions regarding issuing of a prospectus, and what do you mean by statement in lieu of prospectus. And these are the legal points are there, statement in lieu of points. The provisions, SEBI guidelines, they are clearly mentioned what do you mean by statement in lieu of prospectus. And also the next point is what do you mean by minimum subscription and accounting treatments. What are the different methods for issue the shares? The shares can be issued at par value, or shares can be issued at a premium, and accounting treatments, that's number 1 when we are collecting or issuing the shares and collect application money, context number 1. Then application money is transferred to capital. And the second point is allotment. After getting this application money, so within the after 2 or 3 months, the board of directors are decided to allot the shares to different applicants, sanctioning shares to the different applicants. That is what is called allotment of shares. The students have a lot of doubts. What is actually allotment of shares? Allotment means we are sanctioning or allotting shares to different applicants. You are given an application, and application money doesn't mean that you are a shareholder. So you are a shareholder only after getting allotment letter, and after allotment letter the company is issuing share certificate also. Within 3 months they are issuing a share certificate also. That is another part. So you can see now what I am telling. What do you mean by allotment of shares? Allotment of shares means the share which is sanctioned to the shareholders, or sanctioning shares to the shareholder is known as allotment of shares. So what is the journal entry? Allotment money due, allotment share allotment account debtor to share capital account. Then allotment money received, our journal entry is bank account debtor to share allotment account. Then next procedure is on making a first call. So that my example, you can see the value of the share is 10 rupees, and that 10 rupees either you can collect lump sum or you can collect like an installment. That is what is called application money 2, allotment is 3, and first call is 2 and final call is 3. That means total 10. So that only now I am explaining. So first part is application money collected, and second part is allotment money collected, and the next part is known as on making a first call, share first call account debtor to share capital. On receiving a first call, entry is bank account debtor to share first call. Then making a final call, the share final call account debtor to share capital, and bank account debtor to share final call. Now these are the accounting treatments. Now I am going to discuss another part, that is what is called over subscription and under subscription of shares. So what do you mean by over subscription and under subscription of shares? So it is also very important, because when we are analyzing the pro rata statement and the problems, you can see what is an over subscription and what is an under subscription. See example, our company's requirements is 2 lakh rupees 2 lakh. So company's requirements is rupees 2 lakh, but company is getting rupees 3 lakh. You can see from this particular example, you can see our requirements, that is 2 lakh, but company is getting 3 lakh. You know, as per our SEBI guidelines, company cannot issue this 3 lakh because it is not permitted in the articles of association. So that is why we are doing some internal adjustment. That means as a director, you can either reject 1 lakh or you can internally adjust. So that is the procedure. You know, as per SEBI guidelines, Securities Exchange Board of India or SEBI guidelines is there. So that is what is called SEBI guidelines. What they are instructing, either you can reject 1 lakh or you can internally adjust. So here my point is, what is over subscription and what is under subscription. So here you can see this particular position is known as over subscription. The company is collecting more than their requirements is known as over subscription. Or sometimes our requirements is 2 lakh, but company is collecting only 1,50,000 rupees. That means 1 lakh rupee worth rupees 1,50,000, and this particular position is known as under subscription. So given it one difference between over subscription and under subscription, company is collecting more than our requirements is known as over subscription, or company is collecting less than our requirements, so that is what is called under subscription. And both cases, certain provisions are instructed by the articles, and also the board of directors are taking lot of decisions regarding these points. Then next, another point is, what do you mean by calls in arrears and calls in advance? So what do you mean by calls in arrears and calls in advance? That also very important to the students. So what do you mean by calls in arrears and calls in advance? See, very simple. Calls in arrears means when I am making or when I am requesting to pay allotment money or a calls money, and some of the shareholders are not paid calls money or allotment money in time as per our schedule. You know, the company is sending a circular or sending a notice to the shareholder to pay calls money or allotment money, and if the shareholder is not paid calls money as per our schedule, so that particular situation is known as calls in arrears. Some shareholders are not paid calls money in time, that particular amount or calls is the part of the calls is known as calls in arrears, and calls in arrears you are adjusted from our paid up capital. So calls in arrear we are adjusting from our capital also. The amount which is not paid by the shareholder as per our schedule, that is what is called calls in arrears. But sometimes the shareholder may be making or they are paying amount in advance. Example, see, now I am sending a notice for paying allotment money, but some of the shareholders are paying call money also along with allotment. Some of the shareholders are making payments or they are paying calls money along with allotment, that is what is called calls in advance. You know what do you mean by calls in arrears and calls in advance. So here one particular point is there. Calls in arrears, companies charging interest is, calls in arrears, companies charging interest is 10%, and calls in advance, companies giving 12% interest to the shareholder. You know, once again, calls in arrears, companies charging 10% from the shareholder, and calls in advance, companies giving 12% interest to the shareholder. So 10% that is for calls in arrears and 12% that is for calls in advance. Now you can see these are the step by step we are coming to the problem part, and now you can see, so what are the different methods and different terms for issue the shares, what about the share value, what is allotment of shares, what is prospectus, minimum subscription, calls in arrears, calls in advance, over subscription. So these are the point what I explained so far. Now you can see another point, the shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. So what do you mean by this? So the shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. So instead of giving or paying cash, so you can issue shares or you can issue a debentures. The debenture chapters, so first debenture chapter you are studying. So asset purchased and issue of debentures at par value, and same thing. So instead of issuing or instead of paying money, you can issue a shares. That is what is called shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. So last year when I am taking this part, I already explained all these points. So once again I am repeating, the shares issued for consideration other than cash. That means we are issuing the shares for as a consideration. See, what is the context? The context number 1 is we are purchasing assets and issue of shares at par value. Case number 1. Case number 1, issue shares are issued for, look at the monitor, shares are issued for consideration other than cash. Monitor, shares are issued for consideration other than cash. We are purchasing of an asset and we are issuing shares at par value. See, we are purchasing an asset from the vendor. You can see what is entry, sundry asset or asset account debtor, asset account debtor to vendors accounts, asset account debtor to vendors account. See, and the second case is, and we are purchasing an asset and issue of shares at par value. We are purchasing an asset and issuing of shares at par value. Asset account debtor to vendors, and second point is what is that? Vendors account debtor to share capital. So we are purchasing an asset and issue of shares at par value. So what is entry? So second entry is vendors account debtor to share capital. Vendors account debtor to share capital. So second entry is vendors account debtor to share capital. Then again, this is a case number 1, asset purchase and issue of shares at par value. So first entry is asset account debtor to vendor, and second entry is vendors account debtor to share capital. And case number 2, we are buying an asset and issue of shares at a premium. So what is the entry? So just to recollect the points. So what do you mean by, say, what is the entry for asset purchase and issue of shares at a premium? On the basis of all other entries, just look at, so we are buying an asset and instead of giving money, so we are issuing a shares. You can see the monitor. So what is the first entry is common, asset account debtor to vendor, and second entry is vendors account debtor to share capital and to premium account. So first entry again I am not writing. So you can see the second case, that is we are purchasing an asset and issue of shares at a premium. So our entry is vendors account debtor to security premium and to share capital. So vendors account debtor, security premium account debtor to share capital. So case number 3, at a discount, it is not there. So that is there in the debenture, but it is not there in the shares. So you please study only 2 points, asset purchase, that is asset purchase and issue of shares at par value, and asset purchase and issue of shares at a premium. So once again, instead of giving the money, we are issuing the shares as a purchase consideration. So here case number 1, we are buying an asset and issue the shares at par value, face value. So that is asset account debtor to vendor, and second entry is vendors account debtor to share capital. And case number 2, we are buying an asset and issue the shares at a premium. So asset account to vendor, vendors account debtor to security premium to share capital. So that is our point. Now you can look at this question. X Limited purchased the business of Ram Brothers worth rupees 1,80,000, payable in fully paid equity shares of rupees 100 each. What entries will be made in the books of X Limited if such shares are issued at par and issued at a premium? So just to leave it that third point, discount is not there, issued at par and issued at a premium. Once again, so we are buying an asset. Who is the vendor? X Limited purchased the business of Ram Brothers worth rupees 1,80,000 payable in fully paid equity shares of rupees 100 each. What entries will be made in the books of X Limited if such shares are at par at a premium of 20%? So the nominal value of the share is equal to how much? So 100 rupees. So you can see the answer. You take your own time just to look at this monitor and see that question. So maybe it is there in your textbook also, illustration number 21 or 25, check. So there this question is there, T.S. Rival's book. So sundry asset account, I am buying an asset. You can see the monitor clearly, I had given all points. Sundry asset account debtor to Ram Brothers, you can see 1,80,000 being the purchase of business or an asset from Ram Brothers. And afterwards, the purchase consideration, the same equal amount I am issuing a shares. So you can see Ram Brothers account, vendors account debtor to share capital account. The same value I am issuing the shares also. Then case number 2. So asset account debtor to vendor and 1,80,000, but we are issuing the shares at a premium. So that is vendors account debtor to security premium to share capital. So here how you can calculate the number of shares. That also very important thing. See, I am buying an asset 1,80,000, but equal to that 1,80,000 rupees I am issuing a shares. But here the students level. So you should think how many shares I am issuing to the vendor equal to this rupees 1,80,000. So that is a confusional point. So you can see one exam or one formula we are applying. So that formula is as follows, that is purchase price divided by issue price. So that is the formula. You can see purchase price, so divided by issue price. So how to find out the number of shares? So you know, asset account to vendor, vendors account debtor to security premium to share capital. So here I want to find out the number of shares you are issuing to the vendor. How many shares equal 1,80,000 you are issuing to the vendors, that we can find out purchase price divided by issue price, that is 1,80,000 divided by 120. So from where you got 120, so 100 is the face value and 20 is the premium. That means purchase price is 1,80,000 and issue price is so 100 plus 20. So you can see answer is 1,500. So answer is what? 1,500. So that means your entry is vendors account debtor to security premium to share capital. So that is vendors account debtor, Ram Brothers account debtor to premium to share capital. Vendor Ram Brothers account debtor to security premium to share capital. The amount is 1,500 into 120, and this is 1,500 into 20, and this is 1,500 into 100. So that means amount is, you can see this is 1,80,000 and this is share premium is equal to and 30,000. Premium is 30,000 and this is 1,50,000. So you can see the debit is starting with the credit. So here equal to 1,80,000. How many shares we are issuing? 1,500 shares we are issuing. So now listen. The shares are issued for consideration other than cash. Instead of issuing or instead of giving liquid money, we are equal shares we are issuing to the vendor. That is what is called, the shares can be issued as a consideration. This one, number one, asset purchase and issue of shares at par value, and number two, the shares can be issued at a premium. So the case is number one, once again, so the shares can be issued at par value, asset purchased, so asset account to vendor and vendors account to share capital. And case number two, asset account to vendor and vendors account debtor to premium to share capital. Now listen, so we have studied lot of points today. So how we are collecting the necessary capital and what is the procedure for collecting the capital, what are the different type of shares and what do you mean by prospectus and minimum subscription. Shares can be issued at par value, premium and discount. oversubscription and undersubscription, and calls in arrears and calls in advance, and the shares can be issued for consideration other than cash. So these are the points what we have studied so far. The next part is forfeiture of shares and pro rata allotment. Now you know the last year board examination they are asking a typical question, and nowadays see they are given, see our resource person is asking, and they are given a clear instruction to us. The board is changing the pattern, so they can ask questions like multidisciplinary questions, and also so some deleted portions are there, that is some multiple choice questions are not there, and also multidisciplinary questions are not there, and issue of shares at a discount is not there. And also just go through this circular, you can understand so many portions are deleted, and also some parties incorporated also as per our section 2013, especially in debenture chapter, the second debenture DRR, how to keep a DRR. So that percentage is changed and investment percentage also changed. So just look at debenture chapter also. Now I am going to discuss what do you mean by forfeiture of shares, and also how to calculate or adjust pro rata allotment, and what is the principle or the doctrine of pro rata allotment and forfeiture of shares. This is also equal important to students because it is an 8-mark question. So that's why this forfeiture and pro rata allotment we can see the next episode. And also what I have taken today, all of you just go through the journal entries and the methods and the procedure, then do some problems from the sample paper as well as the last year board questions and our TS Rival's books. So then you can understand all the points, and any doubt is there you can clarify with me. So for the time being, so thank you very much.